But still, you get to play the regular version of Melee, and even if it's wrong, I feel like this situation can't be compared to the 0.9 situation in Smash 4, because how many people have even played with 0.9? I know I've never done it in Melee.
That was a clip of Armada discussing the Shine 2017 rematch controversy between Leffen and Shoodat. And it was also a lie. Armada was actually one of the only players to play an official set specifically on 0.9 knockback, and it turns out it's one of competitive Melee's biggest upsets. Ever. This is Adam Armada Lindgren, 10 years ago at Pound 4 in 2010. Before the times of big live streams, before the documentary, before almost anything. Melee had been kicking rocks in the competitive scene for 7 whole years at this point, but given its longevity in present-day gaming, we still had a long way to go. In 2010, Armada was just a guy. A guy attending his second ever US event, and who, with less than 20 total tournaments and experience, had never placed lower than 5th. A guy widely regarded as one of the greatest Melee players of all time. And a guy who would hold positive records against every competitive smasher he had ever faced, with the exception of just 2, Captain Jack and Silent Spectre.
And that flurry of stomps already putting on a ton of damage.
Oh,
regrab.
Oh! 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 Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh, look at the smirk cam.
The smirk cam.
The smirkiest of smirks. That was insane. He had every single DI read on those regrabs in the drop zone knee. That was actually nutty.
In his prime, Jeff Silent Spectre Loong was considered to be one of the best Captain Falcon players in the world. But much of the San Francisco native's stardom and notoriety doesn't come from his high tournament placements. Oh no. It comes from being just one half of this now world-famous clip. That was the Wombo Combo. Like, the original Wombo Combo, arguably one of the most impactful and iconic moments in Melee's history, and Silent Spectre was a part of it. So, you know, Jeff's pretty good, and he's in pretty good shape over at Pound 4. He's already beaten Straw Hat and Dark in the winner's side bracket, and with those wins he would be scheduled to face the colossal Peach player that was Armada for winners round 3. As for Armada, well, he had a bye in the first round, so he only needed a single set win versus Raynex in order to meet SS on winner's side. I should probably also mention that Pound 4 was a completely and utterly stacked tournament. With 347 entrants, Pound was the biggest Melee tournament of all time, and it held that record for 3.5 years before being surpassed by Melee's resurgence at EVO 2013. It was also the first ever tournament to host each of the 5 gods of Melee, which included the aforementioned Armada, as well as Hungrybox, Mango, Mewtwo King, and Dr. PP. When Armada first came from Sweden to the United States to compete in Genesis just a year prior in 2009, he went on an insane run to second place, just losing out to Mango in a Grand Finals runback. Genesis would mark the beginning of Armada's extraordinary career in Melee, a dominance only plagued by a few hiccups in performance. But his winner's round 3 set versus Silent Spectre would become one of those hiccups. This would be the first time these two players had ever faced off, and as we'll soon find out, it would also be one of the only times Armada could say he's never won against another player. Game 1 begins on Dreamland 64, a fine stage for both characters. Captain Falcon gets space to move around and link combos on platforms, while the large size of the stage allows Peach to survive for a while. The two trade hits back and forth for the first 30 seconds of the game, and Silent Spectre gets a grab at 727. This leads into a knee, but the Dreamland pick allows Armada to survive for just a bit longer. SS overextends on an edgeguard and is caught off stage, but he's able to recover. At 702, Armada hits Silent Spectre with a turn-up. Silent Spectre misses the ledge on his double jump and is forced to use his up B, which is met with a phantom hit down smash from Armada. Armada hits a nair about 10 seconds later to put both players at exactly 172%, and it's enough to take Silent Specter's first stock. Armada earns another 26% before the stocks are equalized. With a slight advantage to Armada, he clips SS with a down smash and links that with a dash attack. He reads the roll away to connect a second dash attack and tries to put on more damage, but Silent Specter reverses the situation and begins putting on a ton of pressure. At 621, he lands another grab which leads to an up air into knee, but the knee reverses and doesn't kill. At 616, a nair from Armada puts the two players at the exact same percentage yet again. Armada pulls a Stitch Face, a rare projectile with a less than 2% chance of appearing, tries to catch Silent Specter's landing, and throws the turnip off stage. Silent Specter uses some tricky movement to land a forward smash and take the stock at 6 minutes, and Armada answers back 30 seconds later to even the stocks at 2-2. The two trade blows for another minute, and at 428 the percent isn't quite exactly equal, but a down smash traded with Silent Specter's jabs would leave Armada with a commanding 1% advantage. With the stocks and percent essentially equal, Silent Specter hits Armada with both hits of up smash, killing him off the top. Armada flubs an edgeguard at 402, which allows Jeff to tack on another 6% before falling to his own last stock. At 350, Armada gets an up throw which looks like it will convert into more damage, but Silent Specter escapes. The corner pressure continues on both ledges for another 20 seconds, and Jeff begins a string of his own with a nair at 332. Just a percent or two separates these two players, and with 3 minutes left on the clock, Silent Specter sneaks in a knee that closes out game 1. Now up a game, Silent Specter only needs one more win to take the set and advance in bracket. But when you've been at the top for as long as Armada, you've gotten used to playing from behind.
For me, it's always easier in one way fighting from behind rather than when I've been winning a lot.
One of the most prominent examples, given Silent Specter's character, of Armada's ability to play under pressure is in his set versus S2J at Genesis 4. With S2J up 2-0 against Armada, a single knee miss in Game 3 would cascade into a reverse sweep for Armada. S2J was poised to become the first Captain Falcon player to ever defeat Armada in a best-of-5 set, as well as the first person outside of the top 6 to beat Armada in that year. So, Armada is no stranger to overcoming obstacles in tournament. But on this day, during the winner's side bracket at Pound 4 in Frederick, Maryland, Silent Specter would be the one to make his mark on history. In a best-of-3 set, the winning player is able to ban a stage from the list of tournament legal stages. Armada counterpicks to Final Destination. This is good for Peach with access to a chain grab against Captain Falcon, but it can also be good for Captain Falcon since there's no platforms to interrupt grab follow-ups against Peach. Silent Specter quickly jumps ahead in percent at the start of the game and takes Armada's first stock at 730. Armada finds an opening at 720 in an attempt to equalize the stocks, but he misses a tech roll read. Following the miss, Silent Specter strings together even more damage on Armada and pushes him off stage. After a short scuffle, SS catches Armada off guard with a down smash that takes his second stock. Unlike their first game, Silent Specter is up a full 2 stocks, and just seconds later he looks to take a third with an off-stage stomp that Armada meteor cancels. At 624, Armada finally takes Silent Specter's first stock, but he's at a sizable deficit. SS gets a grab at 550 and converts that into yet another stock, putting Armada at his final stock of the winner's bracket. Armada answers back with a kill at 522, but he's just too far behind at this point. Silent Specter gets a few grabs starting at 513, and after the knee connects on the third, Armada just tumbles to his death. Silent Specter wins the set with a clean 2-0 sweep to advance in bracket, and with that, Armada is sent to losers in a truly surprising upset. The rest of the tournament went on as smoothly as it could, but with Armada dropping to losers early, things got a little messed up. Silent Specter would move on to face Hungrybox in the next winner's side round, where he would lose 2-0. They also played the second game of their set on Rainbow Cruise. That's not really relevant to the rest of this tournament's outcome, but it's been quite a while since Rainbow Cruise was a tournament legal counterpick, so fun fact I guess. Either way, Jeff would finish Pound 4 at 9th place, losing in his following match to Zoo. Armada would end up going on a run in the loser side of bracket, beating Kage, Hax, Plank, Lucky, and M2K before falling to AMSA, who happened to be one of the only other players to ever put a blemish on the Swedes' near immaculate record. Armada would exit Pound 4 at 4th place. The next tournament with both Silent Specter and Armada in attendance wouldn't be until over a year and a half later at Genesis 2. The two would unfortunately not face off there. In fact, they wouldn't play against each other ever again. Pound 4 ended up being the first and last time they would ever meet in bracket, which left Silent Spectre at a lifetime 1-0 set count over Armada. For as long as these two played competitive Melee, Silent Spectre would forever have a winning record against Armada, and this head-to-head would be one of the only imperfections on Armada's close to spotless record. But a shocking discovery was just around the corner. Well, 9 years around the corner.
It's been brought up to light that the damage ratio very, very likely was set to 0.9 instead of 1.0. Some people might wonder, oh, why is that such a big deal? But like a lot of moves, when they knock down, how they fly, it does change pretty much everything. So something that barely works on 1.0, which is standard, might not work on 0.9.
On May 18th, 2019, almost a decade after the event was hosted, Twitter user Jim posted a thread claiming that the Pound 4 set between Armada and Silent Spectre was in fact played on invalid game settings. Specifically, the damage ratio, a setting which actually has nothing to do with the damage of moves, was incorrectly set to 0.9 as opposed to the default 1.0. Damage ratio in Melee is a feature that alters how much knockback is given and received rather than the damage output of an attack itself. By default, it's set at 1.0 and it can be modified to ranges from 0.5 times or half knockback to 2.0 or double knockback. A lesser launch rate can be good for stringing combos, while a higher launch rate can help with KOing opponents at much lower percentages. The evidence supporting Armada and Silent Spectre's set being played on an incorrect knockback came from this single up throw at about 350 during Game 1. The throw inflicted 8% to Silent Spectre, which is in line with the expected damage output for a Peach up throw, but the issue comes into play when Silent Spectre isn't knocked down. You see, a Peach's up throw versus Captain Falcon will always knock a Captain Falcon down, regardless of the percent. But in the VOD itself, Silent Spectre never even enters a tumble state, meaning there was no opportunity for him to wiggle out of the grab, it just never put him in tumble to begin with.
Right here, when I throw Falcon, what is supposed to happen is that Falcon gets knocked down on the platform. But you see, he doesn't even reach the platform, he doesn't get into tumble whatsoever.
This small interaction served as a hint for people to lab and confirm the damage ratio, and it turns out they were right. Twitter user Bones recreated the exact situation using TAS and confirmed that Armada's upthrow should have knocked Silent Spectre down if their tournament setup was on the regular 1.0 knockback value. With the community more or less confirming a 0.9 damage ratio for their famous Pound 4 set, Armada was disappointed to have to remember it again.
In one way, I'm sad for Silent Spectre because it's always going to be that talk now that it was 0.9. In one way, I'm sad for myself as well because I stopped caring about this loss many years ago. Like, people have always brought it up to me because it's like one of the few losses I've ever gotten against non-top 6 players. But for me, it was like, you know, best of 3, 2010, like many years ago. It's no reason to like really let that loss, you know, cling on to me forever. But now, when this knowledge is brought up, it's almost like you get to experience the loss one more time.
This wouldn't even be the last time the Smash community would see incorrect game settings impacting a tournament. At Genesis 4, a top 8 Smash Wii U set between Captain Zack and Kimura Kiri was played on a 0.9 damage ratio, and their final game was replayed. At Shine 2017, another top 8 set, now for Melee, was played without the recently implemented UCF turned on, resulting in an entire set rematch. The difference between those examples and this situation is the response time. Pound 4 happened in 2010, but it took the community watching a single throw input halfway through 2019 to realize something might have not been right in that set. It's kinda hard to call for a rematch 9.5 years after the tournament concluded. So what does this all mean? We unfortunately can't go back in time and rewrite history. Silent Spectre won the set, but exactly how much legitimacy that win holds, well, that depends on who you ask.
It's like kind of pointless to try to like argue which side lost on it more, because this was over 9 years ago. It's a sad thing it happened. I played Smash like tournaments since early 05, and to my knowledge, this is apparently the only set this has ever happened. It might have happened at some other point in the past without me or my opponent knowing about it. Of course, I can't confirm that, because if someone asked me this yesterday, have you ever accidentally played a tournament set on 0.9, I would have said no. It's never happened to my knowledge.
It's sad to say that the taboo surrounding this set may dilute Silent Specter's win, since the rules weren't exactly legitimate. Even though the two unintentionally played the set out with an unsanctioned rule set, you can't help but wonder how that set would have gone with the standard 1.0 damage ratio. An incorrect knockback value has a cascading effect over the course of a game, so we can't really recreate what the game might have looked like if the settings were correct. What may be even more impressive than this discovery is the massive legacy Armada had fostered over the span of his Melee career. The fact that we're even talking about just a best-of-3 set where Armada happened to lose speaks volumes to his capability and dominance as a player.
Pound 4, even to this day, is arguably my worst tournament in the US. I did get 5th twice, and Pound 4 I got 4th, but Pound 4 was the only time I ever lost to 2 non-top 6 members. And it was my only 2 losses to non-top 6 members all the way until Swedish at EVO 2018. No American player actually did beat me in a 3 out of 5. That was not top 6. That's actually an accomplishment I'm pretty proud of.
I mentioned earlier that 5th would be the lowest Armada had placed up until Pound 4, but it turns out that 5th would also be the lowest placement Armada would ever see in a Melee tournament where he didn't forfeit or sandbag for the remainder of his career. In addition, Pound 4 would be the last tournament at which Armada lost to a player outside of the top 6, Mango, Hungrybox, Mewtwo King, Leffen, PPMD, or Plup, with of course Silent Specter being the catalyst at this event. He's a man who's cultivated an over 8-year-long win streak versus every player outside of the top 6. And that's not an exaggeration. No American player outside of the top 6 has ever beaten Armada in a best-of-5 set. That is exceptional consistency, and if incorrect settings in his match versus Silent Specter puts Armada's competitive history in question, I guess you can say his near-perfect record is even nearer to perfect than we thought. Silent Specter versus Armada at Pound 4 will forever remain one of the few times Armada was defeated by a player who wasn't at the very top of the competitive scene. With the game surviving as long as it has though, who knows if there are other archaic sets out there that might have unknowingly been played with incorrect settings. Something as innocuous as a non-standard damage ratio is nearly impossible to detect while in game, so whether you chalk that discovery up to a group of insanely dedicated fans of the game, or just a lucky guess, it's not a lie when I say that Armada has never won versus Silent Specter. If they were to play again though, who knows what could happen. At the end of the day, there really is only one way to handle this. Armada versus Silent Specter, rematch. Damage ratio, 1.1. Alright, so that may be a difficult rematch to set up, but maybe someday. But thanks for making it to the end of this documentary, and a very special thank you to all the patrons supporting the channel like Avishua Stein, Brian Malumphy, and Connor. If you'd like to help make more videos like these possible, please consider supporting me on Patreon and subscribe to the channel because it actually does help a lot and like 80% of you aren't yet. Anyway, thanks again for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.